There's so many influencers on social media today telling us different ways that we can generate wealth in our life, whether that be through investments or working in sales or even owning your own business. Not only that, they love to show us what you can accomplish with this wealth through the luxury cars that they drive, the huge mansions that they live in, the lavish vacations that they go on, even the luxury watches that they wear. However, I've discovered a way to generate wealth that none of these influencers are talking about. And it's the type of wealth that not only will give you more than enough to enjoy for the rest of your life, it's the type of wealth that can be passed on to your kids and their kids. Stick around, because in today's video, I'm going to share with you 2 ways that you can create generational wealth for your family. So last month, I celebrated my 45th birthday, and the plan was to go travel to the city to celebrate with my brother, my parents, as well as my best friends. When we arrived, we got some unfortunate news that my dad got sick. He tested positive for COVID, and it actually caused a lot of complications due to the fact that he's diabetic and has stage 3 bowel cancer. So he had to be admitted to the hospital and pretty much stayed there for almost the entire time that I was visiting, from the Monday to the Friday. And we had plans to do a hike together as a family, and I had to break the bad news that we weren't going to be able to do it. And he kind of pushed back. He's a little stubborn, and he said, well, no, we can just take our time, we don't have to go fast. I'm like, Dad, the first 2 kilometers is uphill. Like, there's no way that you're going to do it. And he was absolutely devastated, because it meant that he wasn't going to be able to have an experience or create a memory with me, my brother, and my mom doing this hike. And at the end of this trail, it's a beautiful view of Howe Sound in British Columbia, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And I've been there before. I've shown him pictures. That's why he wanted to do it. So he was pretty bummed about that. But he eventually got let out of the hospital on the Friday. And that same evening, we went to our best friend's place to celebrate his birthday with his family, his friends, his wife's family, her friends, cousins, nieces, nephews. The whole entire family was there, and it was amazing. I remember going there, and my best friend pulled me aside, and he whispered to me, you know what, I'm so glad you're able to make it and come to the city and celebrate. All I wanted for my birthday was to experience it with you guys, my best friends, my family, and my wife's family, and all of our kids, and enjoy food together. And that's when it hit me. There was a question that came up in the back of my mind that I'm sure all of you have been asked before. And it's one of those questions that's hard to answer at first. And that is, if you had 24 hours to live, what would you do? And going through what I just went through with my dad, with my best friend, it dawned on me that the most important thing that we could ever accumulate in this lifetime are memories. And thinking at that moment about my dad, I totally knew why he was absolutely devastated. It wasn't just that he was going to miss the experience. It was that this was a memory that he might not be able to create and take with him if he passes away. And on the same token, my best friend was just so happy, because now this was another memory that he can take with him for the rest of his life, celebrating his 45th birthday with his best friends. And that's where I totally realized that outside of material wealth, financial wealth, the most valuable asset that we can ever accumulate in this lifetime is our memories. And the reason being is because memories can't be bought with money. Memories cannot ever be taken away with you. And most importantly, memories are the only things that you'll be able to carry with you once you leave this world at the end of your life. And so when you start thinking about your life in terms of wealth, you may already be wealthy with wonderful memories that you can take with you. I really thought about the last 5 years after I went through my divorce my life was absolutely destroyed. I lost more than half of everything that I worked for. I lived in a place where I really didn't have a lot of friends. All of my ex's friends now chose sides, which, understandably through divorce, people choose sides, and had to start building my life all over again. And through that process, I had to go out there and start making new friends, making new connections, having new experiences with those connections, to the point where now I have my tribe where I'm creating wonderful memories that I'll be able to take with me for the rest of her life. And most importantly, these are memories that aren't just something that I can take. These are memories that impact everyone involved, from the people and even the children that are involved in those experiences. And these are memories that they can carry on and tell stories about. Some of the best memories you probably have are the ones where you can look back and say, remember that time when, or I can't believe you did this when I did this. These are the types of memories that you can reflect on. You can have the biggest laughs, and you can also have the biggest cries. And the more memories you can accumulate in this lifetime, the more wealthy and a rich experience you can have. And the reason for that is these experiences and these memories allow us to feel every range of emotion, from the deepest lows of pain and depression and sorrow and helplessness to the highest of highs of happiness, joy, and exhilaration. And it's through these memories that allow us to experience all that humanity has to offer with everyone that we love, and it's what passes on our legacy to the next generation. And that's where a lot of these influencers really miss the mark when they talk about how to generate wealth. Yes, it's important to have some sort of financial security in your life, and there's nothing wrong with having some of the finer things in life. However, if that is your main focus, if you're only focusing on acquiring the material side of success, it will never be enough for you. And you see perfect examples of that, where someone gets a luxury car, and once they achieve that level, they're already thinking, well, what's going to be the next level after that? Or how can I get the bigger house? Or how can I go on a bigger vacation? Or how can I get a more expensive watch? It doesn't end. And that's the big difference between that type of wealth versus wealth through memories and having wonderful experiences with everyone that you love. So to create your own generational wealth for you and your family, there are two different ways that you can do it. And they both create lasting memories. The first step is through connection and experiences with other people. When I first went through my divorce, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was so depressed. I was so ashamed of my situation. I was a bit of a hermit at the beginning. But the way that I got started with connecting with people again was I started to go to the gym. And as soon as I started to feel better about myself, I started talking to people at the gym. And as soon as I started feeling better about talking to people at the gym, I was then more confident to talk to people outside of the gym, and so on and so forth. So the first step is you need to be vulnerable and open to getting outside of your comfort zone in order to make those connections. The gym was the perfect way for me, but for you, it could be through a hobby, or it could be hanging out with a different group of friends. It could be through coworkers who introduce you to new people. Whatever the case may be vulnerable to and open to new experiences that would introduce you to new connections. And through that, you also need to be vulnerable in having experiences, both positive as well as negative. Not every connection is going to lead to a positive experience, but just understand that the negative experiences are the ones that help you grow and help you realize that if this feels this way, if this pain feels like this, then I can't imagine what joy feels on the other side. It allows you to open up your spectrum of every emotion you can feel as a human. And once you can start creating connections as well as having experiences, that's when you're now in the position to create long-lasting memories that you can bring with you for the rest of your life. So that's one way. Second way, the reason why I keep bringing up this watch is there is a way that you can create memories through material possessions. And you've probably heard about family heirlooms. There's some traditions in some family where they pass on an object from the loved one. It could be jewelry, could be a piece of clothing. For me and my family, the tradition is watches. And this kind of goes back to my dad when he first immigrated to Canada from the Philippines. Not only did he land in Canada, which is an English-speaking country, but he actually landed in the province of Quebec where French is the primary language. So imagine you're a Filipino immigrant, barely know English, now you got to learn French, and add on top of that, there was a bunch of racism back in the 70s. So he had it pretty rough at the beginning. And I remember that in order to stick it to the man back then, stick it to the people who were being mean to them, he went out and wanted to buy a Rolex watch. And because in his mind, that was his way of showing these people who thought that he was just some immigrant, that he could afford something nice just like them. And I still remember at that time, if you're old enough, that if you couldn't afford to buy the watch at that time, you could put it on a plan called layaway. And if you're not familiar, this was where you paid for the watch over a period of time, but you couldn't take it home until it was fully paid off. So my dad was on a layaway plan for his Rolex for 3 years until he could finally take that watch home. And I still remember when he finally brought it home and put it on his wrist and showed me and my brother, he started crying. And I was very young, I didn't understand at the time, but he explained, you know what, this is something that I wanted to get to show you that you can accomplish anything in life as long as you put your mind to it, and that nobody can stop you from your accomplishments. And this is something that I'm gonna pass on to you when I move on from this life. And if you take care of it, you can also give it to your kids. And so he eventually also bought a second watch because there's me and my brother, there's two of us. So he's passing on a watch each to both of us, and we're following suit. I purchased this watch for my oldest son. I have two other boys, and eventually I'm gonna pass on and keep that tradition going. And the most important part about this tradition for my family is that having these possessions gives me the memory of my dad and why he set out to accomplish this in the first place, which means the world to me. So if you have something that you can pass on, a material possession, that's also another way they can create generational wealth through memories that will carry on your legacy for years to come. So I hope this message finds you at the right time, and I hope you realize that you're probably more wealthy than you can even imagine. And if you are making those connections, you are having those experiences, and you are creating memories, you're gonna have a wonderful rest of your life reminiscing and enjoying reliving these memories with your loved ones. Thanks so much for your support and for watching this video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.